أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to Youth Forum. This is the more interactive part of the show where you can call in, contribute your poetry, as well as maybe contribute to the topic that we discussed before the break. So feel free to call. We will take all the calls that we get, hopefully. So obviously, as you said, education is one of the fundamental parts of people trying to tackle the stereotype of Islam, and another fundamental part is poetry as well, because then people can interact with Islam as well, and because especially the youth, they're diverting away from Islam because of all the technology and all that. So poetry can bring them back together. And of course, Sayyid Ali al-Hakim is a renowned poet, and I believe he has some poems to share with us.
Yeah, inshallah. This is a poem about baby Muhsin alayhi salam, written by Sayyid Sa'id al-Hakim. It's actually a very new piece. And inshallah, hopefully, it will be one of the ones that are recorded in the studio. The chorus, Wa Muhsina 4 times, then Wa Shahida. Inshallah, if you'd like to participate. Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Shahida. And take me back to before the arrow was released, to rewind to before the weapon was unsheathed, to change all the laws of the universe. I would stop the flowing sands of time so that still they stood, change fate so looking down I won't see Muhsin's blood. Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Shahida. White sun blaring down the air, shimmering with heat, his tongue drier than the ground where we place our feet. I look down and see my son Muhsin's cracked lips dry, and his throat's parched all I hear is him try to cry. I hear his final breath and sigh final goodbye. Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Shahida. How can one aim an arrow at a baby's cry, see his shaking body, and let the arrow fly? Muhsin cried for water, and this was his reply. Taking aim with silver blade, locking eye to eye, sent soul to the sky with a crimson lullaby. Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Shahida. For both the son and the Father their lives they gave. And can you imagine digging such a small grave? They think we will forget, let our anger simmer, forget the tyrants of old Yazid and Shimir. Same people, they killed Muhsin like they killed Nimr. Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Muhsina, Wa Shahida. The good die and evil remain, and it's not strange, it's becoming commonplace with this cycle change. Islam they claim, and yet its leader they have slain. Nimr spoke and was killed, who opposed to complain. We stood idly by, like when they killed Hussein. We stood idly by, like when they killed Hussein. Wa muhsina, wa muhsina, wa muhsina, wa muhsina, wa shahida. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. MashaAllah, very well read there, Brother Ali Al-Hakim. So of course, just to remind you, you can also call in and contribute your poetry as well. I think some people did call in and made recitation. If you'd like, you can call again and we will pick up this time. Also, Ali Al-Hakim, obviously poetry is like a main part, as we said before. So if you'd like to share with the audience your experience in poetry and how you started and how you became what you are now.
Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I started around the age of 10, got inspired by two people, my father and Basim. I think I've got a caller.
Yeah, just
okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother. What's this?
Wa alaikum assalam. I'd like to call in and ask a question, is that okay? On the
Yeah, sure. You're live now, brother. What's your name?
My name is Ahmed.
Alright, Ahmed, where are you calling from?
Calling from Manchester.
Okay, Ahmed from Manchester. What's your question?
I'd like to ask Al Hakim about his recitation. He's got a good voice. I want to see if I've got a recitation, how to improve mine.
Okay, sure. Ali Al-Hakim.
Yeah, there's many things you can do. The most easiest way is to listen to other reciters who are established and they've developed their voice, mimic it, record yourself and compare your voice to that reciter and see why there's a change, and then keep on improving until you do that. That's one thing. This is a quick run through. It needs hours, but I can do a quick run through. That's the first thing. You can also train your voice through vocal training. That involves shouting in a loud way where you can kind of make it a more efficient way. I'll have to sit down with you if so I can maybe get your number or something. So it just involves voice training. You have to scream to, it's like a muscle, voice, it's like you tear it apart and the next day it grows. So then that way you can change the pitches a bit better. Yeah. But understanding tunes as well by listening to other reciters, that's another thing. And a lot of practice. So just stand there and recite the tracks that you've got. So I think those are the main ways. But it takes a lot of time. So jazakumullah khair jaza.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed, for calling in. And
thank you very much.
Just to remind you, you can also call in to contribute your poetry as well. And if you'd like to ask, just like Ahmed, if you'd like to ask any other question to Ali Al-Hakim, he is available, or to me, including the other guests as well, Jafar and Zegham. So, Ali Al-Hakim, continue with this.
Yeah, so I started when I was 10. So the two people who inspired me was my father. He was reciting at that time. He came ran away from Saddam because of the oppression that was going on there. He came, and then he was a Quran reciter in Iraq, and then he became a Noha Latmiya reciter in the UK. I watched him, and then I understood that recitation is very important. Also, Basim Karbala, a famous Arab reciter. So those are the two people. So then after that, I decided to recite, and that was when I was 10. Age of 12, a famous lecturer came to Manchester called Sayyid Tawar Jawi, and I recited after him, and he told me that keep it up, keep going. He actually gave me a poetry book, so because of that it inspired me to carry on. And then years down the line, I think when I was 17, I went to Iraq to record the first album. From when I was 17 till now, just keep on producing new content, and alhamdulillah, shukr is good. Recently, over the last couple of years, been making my own tunes up as opposed to copying other reciters, and I think that's one of the main ways of how a reciter becomes established, is by making your own tunes up, so you become original. I think that's one of the key aspects in becoming established reciter. So that's how it developed throughout the years.
MashaAllah. And of course, you've been traveling around the world as well to recite.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, shukr. Last summer I was in Kuwait recording the new album in the Kuwait studios. and went to the Basra, which is south of Iraq, to record 2 tracks with Mullah Mehdi Zainabi, who's also, he has his own studio in Basra, and then we shot the videos in Karbala. That was, alhamdulillah, was a very nice experience. Went to, I don't know if you consider Wales another country, but...
You went to Detroit 2 years ago?
Yeah, Detroit, we went there. That was not this Muharram, the Muharram before that. Went to Detroit, Michigan. We're in Sheikh Elahi's Mosque, Islamic House of Wisdom. Very humble people, welcomed me, very generous, alhamdulillah, shukr. Very different experience there actually, because it's
what
just...
do you mean by different?
It's because in the UK, mashallah, and America, they've got good programs what they do with regards to the youth. They have they concentrate a lot on the youth, and in Michigan it's a bit different. You know, you got a strong Lebanese community, a strong Iraqi community as well, and some Iranians. So we'll put Wafiq's boys down. And but mainly, yeah, it's the Arabs, and they're not really used to Latam the way that we do it. Because they're used to like lectures and things like that, but they're not used to the intensity of the matam that we do. You know, our Pakistani brothers and the Iraqis, how we do it, and the Iranians as well. And so because we've come down, I went with my friend Muhammad Mahabis, and we went, and basically I was reciting, and he was kind of teaching the kids and the adults how to do it. I think the adults knew how to do it, but they just kind of forgot over the years. So we come in after the 6th night, I think it was Laylat al-Abbas, the Abbas, Abu Fadl Abbas night. Everyone was getting into it, so it was quite good, alhamdulillah, shukr. Yeah, and then when we went back for Arba'een, and again, it was the same thing.
That's good, because obviously you said they concentrate a lot on the youth. I think that's very important as well, because nowadays, like, a lot of people are moving away from Islam. You know, the media is contributing a lot towards that as well, because people are sort of almost ashamed to be part of Islam because of the way the stereotypically the media presents us, like very violent and backwards and you know whatnot. So obviously the youth has to be involved in, like, so people have to, like, for example, the Manchester Islamic Centre, they do youth programs every Saturday, Sunday, and they also house Islamia as well. And so all of this is like fundamental for us youth to get back track, because obviously we are the next generation.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if we don't go forward, then the older generation's not going to do anything. I mean, that's
exactly,
they're going to pass on, and then we're going to, take over.
Exactly, like we have a role.
We need to establish something.
Concentrating in English as well, because there's many communities, some of the communities don't understand Arabic, some communities don't understand Urdu. So if we concentrate English and it's a universal language, that way we can progress forward, especially when it comes to recitations. The beginning, some people weren't really into English recitations because it sounds odd, and fair enough. It's like a different genre of recitations, you know. Like even if you compare the Arabic way of the Arabic style of matam and the way that the tunes are made in comparison to the Urdu style of matam, there's a difference. But when you come with English, it's like, what's going on here? Because the syllables, the way that you write the poetry is different. In Arabic, it's really easy because of the Arabic language. But when it comes to English, you have to, if you want to have a set tune, you have to have set syllables. And that means the structure of the paragraphs needs to be the same. And that can be quite difficult whilst keeping in mind the rhythm and keeping a story behind the poem. But mashallah, the poets that we have here do that fantastically, and we're encouraging more poets to write, and there are various platforms which they can recite their poetry, be it in spoken word or with tunes. But I think, alhamdulillah, shukr, both in the UK and America and other countries such as Canada, they've been developing a lot in the youth programs, and which is what we all like to see, because they are the future, like you said.
Yeah, the future is, I think the future in English poems and Latmiya is very important. And also, you know, if more people get involved and more youth write poetry and recite poetry, it's gonna like make Islam look very good as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you have another talent like I do, I like making films.
Yeah.
If that's a good talent, you know, if you have the knowledge, like we said, get the knowledge, and then you can portray that kind of knowledge about Islam.
Yeah, I mean, whatever talent you have, if you use it in the way of Islam, then of course, you know,
exactly.
It's almost like you're fighting the stereotype of Islam, you know.
But in poetry, there's another important aspect. So yes, of course, it's explaining the tragedies of Karbala and the tragedies of the Ahl al-Bayt in general. But there's another thing that we're tackling that quite a lot of people might miss, and it is the music industry. The music industry is very powerful, very powerful, and we have to combat it in the best way possible, because some people, consider music to be okay, but if you look down to the nitty-gritty, regardless of what marja you follow, if you look to the nitty-gritty of it, it does affect the soul if it is muharram music. And when it affects the soul, your outlook on life changes, including your dress sense, for example. Everything changes. And because of that, you start to deviate away from Islam and away from the conscience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So by us reciting and recording in the studios, which I stress the importance of recording in the studios, no hazlatmiyas and ashid, du'as, Quran, this will provide like a playlist for people to download, be it on YouTube or iTunes or wherever it might be, as a replacement, because it's hard to go switch from listening to R&B music all day to suddenly nothing, because you can't. It's like you have a drug and then suddenly you have withdrawal symptoms because you stop taking the drug. You have to have a replacement that gradually changes you, and to go from R&B all day to nothing, or whatever type of music is that's muharram, to nothing, is very hard to do. So how do we do it? We replace it by things which are halal, which is the poetry which our beloved brothers write and recite. Alhamdulillah.
I spoke to actually one of the guys, my friends in college, and he's not Muslim, but he was asking me if I listen to music, and then I told him no, and he said, "Oh, how come? I thought everyone listens to music." I was like, "No, I don't feel a need to." I was like, "Do you listen to music?" He goes, "I can't go a day without listening to music." I was like,
shows like how much power
he was literally addicted to the music. I was like, "What do you feel when you listen to music?" He goes, "I don't know. I don't listen to calm music. I listen to rock hard music, and that makes me calm." I'm like, this is messing with your mind. It's just.
What the unfortunate case is people see that these people who do recite in the haram as the key idols. Yeah. They want to be like them. Unfortunately, that's not the case, because once you become like them, I was watching actually a documentary yesterday, and all these singers who sing in a haram way,
all got issues, man.
They have issues, and what they were saying is, at one stage we had to sell our souls to the devil. Yeah. A lot of them were saying that. So there's something going on here that's not really. It's basically anti-Islamic. Us reciters who recite specifically about the tragedies of the Ahlul Bayt, we do have a large platform, but we don't have a lot of following. Okay, you see people who are in the music having tens of millions of followers. Well, what do we have? We have tens. You know what I mean? But the thing is, we don't chase fame. We chase the Ahlul Bayt, and then because of that, we have the akhirah, and they can have the dunya. We don't want the dunya. We can have the akhirah. And that's where it gives us satisfaction. Even, wallah, one time I had a majlis of 2 people. Yeah. Wallah, it was the best majlis I've been to. 2 people. And then a majlis, next week it was 1,000 people. It doesn't make a difference. We don't chase the audience. We chase the Ahlul Bayt. And then through that, the Ahlul Bayt gives us the barakah.
Sometimes if there's 1,000 people, we'll rather have 2 real people.
Exactly. It depends on the intention.
I was going to say, Ayatollah Khamenei himself says that a reciter should elevate the piety of his audience. And the reason he said that is because you do have an effect, just like Sayyid Hakim said. He goes that, music has an effect on your soul in every single way. And somebody said to me recently, he showed me, I can't remember what's his name, that Eminem guy, whatever his name is. Yeah. I don't know. He showed a song, and I used to do, I do poetry and stuff, and we used to look at lyrics in high school.
Yeah, in workshops, yeah.
And then like the lyrics are fine, fair enough. Some rappers, they have really good lyrics about your mothers or whatever issues they have or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the music that the beat. Yeah, who said spoken word is haram? We should promote everyone to do spoken word, to do write poems about Shaykh al-Number, write poems about tragedies, so that non-Muslims can understand. Yeah. But at the same time, if you're going to put music onto it, then you have to understand that when you go into fatwas and you go to fiqh, that they don't look at the words itself. They look at the beat. They look at the the level, what kind of place is coming out from the throat, what effects they have, everything. Yeah, that's true. So don't think you know everything, even though you might not know anything about the music industry.
Yeah, that's a really good point. As we're closing into namaz time, just to finish off, Ali Al-Hakim, have you got any poems to recite?
Yeah, sure. Just what I thought, we can link it in nicely to the tragedies of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Linking it in, we had the tragedies of Fatima al-Zahra with baby Muhsin. We can talk about Ali Asghar here, the two babies that were tragically killed during the service of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ashura, Karbala, turn to a crimson sky. Ashura, Karbala, turn to a crimson sky. He's a baby an innocent baby. Why'd you have to slay him? Why not slay me? What I would do to stand and stop it now? Oh, let that arrow pierce my carotid. Ashura, Ashura, Karbala turned to a crimson scar. Oh, he did scream and scream, then scream no more. A small rasping voice, small moving jaw, quieter and quieter he did cry, till his cries became sighs, his mouth so dry. Ashura,
Ashura,
Karbala, Karbala turned to a crimson sky, and Hussein spoke. Have you no sympathy for this child? Before you, he is guilt-free. A small baby by the name of Ali, only his crime is being thirsty. Ashura, Ashura, Karbala turned to a crimson sky. A guttural scream he turned to the sky, and as Hussein screamed out loud with his cry, Ali Al-Asghar began to close his eyes, and breathing his last he sighed his goodbye. Ashura, Karbala turned to a crimson scum. To the poet, to Sayyid Sa'id al-Hakim.
Okay, it is nearing the end of the program since it is namaz time. So inshallah next week we will have these two guests and a different topic, 4 o'clock inshallah, if you would like to join us. And inshallah if you can also call in and contribute to the topic as well. So inshallah we'll see you next week. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.